Hello and welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. Today I'm in the lovely island of Martinique in the Caribbean, and this is the island where Christoph Columbus 1502 actually did his fourth tour and actually visited the island and saw the island as one of the West Indies. And today we're not going to talk about any history in that kind of sense, but we're going to have a look at the distillery of Neisson. It's the smallest distillery on the island, but that means they're probably just as good. And let's get in and find out how their rum is made. The history of the Neisson distillery begins in 1932. And the family Neisson, it is actually a family called Neisson, was a family of traders. And that's why they have the trading ship as their family logo. So they got a bit of money, and what is interesting is they were actually former slaves, so they were getting their money, and now it was uncommon back in the days, in the 30s, that slaves did have huge distilleries or stuff like that. But they had the money, they bought it, and that was totally good. And the Neisson were a family of 8. So I think it was the older brother who bought a bit of terrain, as a bit of land here at the La Thieubert or Carbet. I don't know what that means, but it's all French. His younger brother, Jean Neisson, who actually was the first former slave, black person, to go to Paris to study chemistry. So he did his École Supérieure de Chimie de Paris. So I think it was just a master in chemistry, which was very extraordinary back in these days, but very, very nice and very good for the distillery. So they could really, he knows what he's doing in terms of processes and the chemistry of fermentation and stuff. Unfortunately, 5 years later, they needed to go to war with Germany in World War II. We had France got invaded by the Germans. So that was the whole situation with the war. Doesn't go unnoticed in the colonies either. Or not the colonies, but the overseas département, what they call it. And so he returned to Martinique after the war, lived there a happy life until 1986 when he died. And he had all the harvesting seasons. He didn't leave the island anymore. And what is nice then, his daughter, Claudine Neisson-Venant, she took over the business in 1995 and ran the business as such. And she has a son, Gregory Venant, and he actually runs the business today. And maybe we can get him for an interview with the tasting later. So she is already well in her years, but she is still running around, and I met her. She's a lovely lady. And so it's just going from the second generation to the third generation, and already the fourth generation is already on the move, although not to be mentioned here as they are underaged yet. So that is a bit of the history of the distillery, and let's have a look how they do grow their sugarcane. The start of each rum is sugarcane, and these here are the sugarcane fields of the Neisson distillery. And they are AOC, that is a règlement of the French that are only allowed to produce in a certain way. For example, they are allowed to harvest from January to August, but they only do it from end of February, March until end of June, depending on the season. Also, they are not allowed to use pesticides, and they are not allowed to use fertilizer or anything to boost their production, except of natural products like the bagasse, which is the leftover products of the pressing, or the vinasse, which is the leftover products from the distillation. So they use that for fertilization. And what you then see is there are a lot of birds around here. And that is a good sign. If you have birds around your sugarcane fields, that means you don't use any pesticides and there are enough insects in there, and the birds just like these insects. So the distillery has 45 hectares, and that gives them a production of about 350,000 liters of rum at 55% ABV, which compared to the Scottish, that would be around 200,000, a little bit less, of 100% alcohol, pure alcohol per year. So yeah, and the sugarcane, they are regrowing. You don't have to plant them every year, so they regrow. But at a certain point, the grass is overtaking, and when the grass is overtaking, you might get a rat infestation. And after 8 years, usually you just cut them down and waste everything, plow it, and then you plant new, and then it will grow fresh and without any grass. And yeah, it becomes worse again. And after 8 years, you have to do the cycle again. Yeah, in the end, 45 hectares is not big. They are the smallest distillery, but to give you a perspective of the harvesting, this machine that actually harvests 30 tons per hour, which is quite a lot. If you compare it to manual labor, if you cut it by yourself with a machete, then you can do about 7 hours. You can do 1 ton if you're a skilled worker. So that gives you a little bit of perspective. But the thing is, you can't harvest everything with the machine. So yeah, you always have to have a bit of manual labor as well. So let's have a look. Let's check how good that stuff is. Very juicy and very, very sweet. Really tastes a little bit like cubed sugar. Also, there is a good amount of fiber content in that, so maybe it is a bit healthy. So yeah, so this is the product that is actually comes out in the end after this harvest. You have a I don't know, 10-inch, 30 centimeters, 25 centimeters, somewhere around there, piece of sugar cane that is full of sugar juice. And let's get into the distillery and see how that is processed.
The first step in the production is pressing the sugarcane. What we want is getting the juice from the sugarcane. To access the juice, you have to break down the sugarcane first. We start by shredding the sugarcane with the large flywheel behind me. 30 centimeter long pieces are then turned into a fiber mixture made of fresh fibers. These fresh fibers go into a hydraulic press, and that's where the finished sugarcane juice comes out. The first pressing is good enough to be used directly. After that, the fiber gets very dry but still containing crystalline sugar. What is done next is to take recycled sugar water and mix it all together to make it moist again. This dissolves the remaining crystalline sugar, which is then pressed out again in a second pressing stage. This gives sugarcane juice that's half as good with half the sugar content. This fiber mixture then becomes dry again and goes into the third pressing stage. In the third pressing stage, we only have very little outcome, and that's where we get the recycled sugar water. This sugarcane juice is then filtered again to remove the last plant fibers. In the end, you have a pure sugarcane juice. You could compare it to a lautering in the mash tun. Finally, the whole material has to be diluted with water, and it goes into fermentation.
The fermentation is done in this step here. You come in with the very sugary juice, you add a little water until you have about a density of 1,000. I don't know what that means. It's around 70% in sugar by, I think, mass. Percentage-wise, 7%. So it is a bit reduced. It's about half the strength. It's not as sugary. And what is interesting here is they do cool it down a little bit. They do cool it to have a bit of a slower fermentation, not as fast. And they have a fermentation time of 72 hours to 120 hours, which is quite a lot. And that gives you more fermentation, lactobacterial fermentation, and that means you have more flavors as in fresh foods, citrus, apple, and all that kind of good stuff. And what I hold in my hand here is something very interesting. They work together with the laboratory of Bordeaux, which they are great in yeast. And they got experts over here to collect yeast from the fields and from everywhere. And these yeasts, they selected them, which of the yeast was nice, and made them replicable, so you can grow them in the laboratory in Bordeaux and then dry yeast them. So this is dried yeast from this region, processed and multiplied in Bordeaux. And this kind of is a regionality combined into a yeast. So all the products are regional. The yeast is kind of regional, as in it comes from here, and the flavors that are being produced are very representative of the area here. After the 72 to 120 hours, it's off to the distillation. This still is a Saval still from 1952, so a very, very old still, but it's really, really good maintained. It is being deconstructed every year, and all the sealings, all the tightenings are being checked, and they clean it every Sunday, so it is a very well maintained still. How it works is you have 7 floors, which is for a column still very small. This is a very small column still if you compare it to the Irish or the Americans. They have much taller stills. You come out with a rum of 74.9% alcohol, which is then stored in a resting tank for up to 1 year. So the more sharper substances get reduced by the oxygen. How it works is you have the vin de sucre, the fermented sugarcane juice, that goes in about 2/3 of the way up, and it flows down and meets very hot steam from the bottom, and that evaporates the alcohol, and the alcohol and the water and rest evaporates at the bottom. The rest is drained out, and at the top you have the Vin Blanc with 74.9% alcohol, and some of it gets into the casks for storing. So let's go over to the storehouse. So the white rum goes into the blending tanks, the steel tanks, to be stored there for up to 1 year as well. And I never thought about that, but storing a white rum for a year is actually making it a bit smoother. And there is definitely a difference between there. A finished rum really has a bit of a sharp turn to it. A nicely one stored for a year is much, much smoother. Talking about smoother, if you store them in wood casks, it's much, much better. We have here at Neisson typical American oak cask, vanilla, caramel, and the 200 liters, about 52 gallons. So the standard barrels that we know. Then we have French wine casks, or not French wine casks, but French oak casks. Quercus robur is a bit more spicier, has more tannins, gives a bit stronger flavors to the rum. Depends on what kind of oak you have. And then we have something very extraordinary that I didn't expect to see here at all. Is at the very top, the ones that are very new. They're actually new Missionara oak casks. If you're a bit into the business, these Missionara oak casks are hugely expensive. They are very, very, very expensive because the Missionara oak, the Quercus mongolica, it's also called the corkscrew oak, and that's because it just grows in a horrific way, and the lumber mill just really don't like these trees. But they have very nice taste, oriental tastes, curry, pineapple, coconuts, you name it. It's a very, very interesting plant, and I'm excited if we can try that. The distillery actually has 3 warehouses on site, only 850 barrels on the island. That's just because they are the smallest distillery here, but definitely they put a lot of thought into that. If you look at that, okay, are these barrels that are allowed? Because you're only allowed to store it 650 if you want to make an AOC room. Yes, they are allowed because they are not maturing tanks, but they are actually marriaging tanks. So what they do is they fill different casks in there, let them sit for a while until they equalize, until they get married together as one substance, and then you have a nice rum that is to be filled into the bottles. So this was it with the production, and I'm standing here with Laurent Legrand.
Hello.
And you're the brand ambassador here at the distillery?
Yes.
You've been 10 years in the rum industry.
Exactly.
And now at the distillery. So thank you very much for having us here at the distillery.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it was such a nice experience here at the distillery. I loved it. The sugarcane fields,
all the fermentation,
Yeah.
all the canes. But I'm here in a room with so many different Neisson bottles. So how many bottles does the distillery have? How big is the core range? And
honestly, it's a kind of hard question to answer,
Okay.
just because of the different type of specificity. But I will say 5 different type of white rum, like maybe 4 gold and a lot of extra hold, just because of the different single casks, the different weight, and they get aged, and the different millism.
Okay.
Like a 25 type of different cuvee, almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so but the cuvée are like special, like small batch. And,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just because we do less production in terms of sugarcane distillation, only per sugarcane juice, and also we represent like 1.9% in the whole island, which also represents 1% of the rum in the whole world.
Okay,
So-
yeah, you are small, but
Exactly, we're the smallest, so each part of rum they get out of our cask is kind of raw.
oh yeah. But
But small.
I'm really excited now about the rum. So what do you have for me?
I'm gonna first introduce you to the Brut de Cologne, l'Esprit.
L'Esprit. Okay.
Yes, it's spirit in English is something that we don't reduce just after the distillation. We're gonna let all the aroma and the expression of fresh sugarcane press, and we're gonna let you enjoy. It's
What were you-
70%
70%.
of happiness.
That's what I'm about to ask. Like fresh off the still.
Yes.
Okay.
As you can see, you will see a lot of the sugar between all around the glass. And after the visual part, smell it.
Okay, that is strong,
Yeah, it's strong, but you know,
but it's very,
tasty.
very juicy.
It looks like you're already working in a sugarcane field.
Yeah.
With fresh sugarcane, you just get cut.
Yeah. Grassy.
Exactly.
Fiber.
Vegetable.
Yeah, I've eaten the sugar cane before, and it really reminds me a little bit about that.
And just after the smell, you have to sip it just gently and
yeah.
let all the aroma express themselves. See, it's kind of buttery with a citrusy part, and it's not that strong.
And it has a bit of strength. Okay,
Yeah.
70%, but
Yeah,
for
yeah,
70%, it's really round and really sweet as well.
It is.
You have the
just-
sugar cane in there.
Just because of a very long aeration and some pressing part, we have to bottling maybe after 1 or 2 years in an inox full tank.
Okay, yeah, so it is
Yes.
like resting for 1 year.
Exactly.
Bit of oxidization, bit of.
And also develop more aroma and flavor.
So I like it that you have the like straight from the
Yeah.
still. That I like it.
It was
It's really cool.
it was a special demand from Gregory to the 70th anniversary in a 70 centiliters bottle to introduce to the world a 70% of alcohol. And we call it l'Esprit just because it's a cultural aspect of using very, very high proof alcohol to different types of spiritual parts.
Okay, so I've heard you're doing a lot of organic.
Yeah.
I've seen that you are fertilizing with the bagasse and the vinasse. And
Exactly.
Really good. And so, are there many of your rums organic?
Honestly, now in 2024, like 10 to 14% of our production only
Okay.
organic. It's not a vision that to go in full organic because it's kind of expensive and is a kind of risky. Like my boss say, if some kind of a bad aspect can coming back, maybe the chemical will be the solution. So it's not a closed door in the non-organic part. But it's just because of try to improve and develop the original aspect of the agricultural part, respect of the ground and the terroir. It's something that the grandfather of Gregory already chose when he developed the brand. With no burn all around the sugarcane just before the harvest, create our own yeast for the fermentation, and also coming back to the bagasse sender to the field, and our secret to create an organic field.
I like it.
Yes.
I've had a lot of organic whiskies and they're really good.
Yes.
And I'm excited.
We was the first to do this in 2017 for the 85th anniversary. After 6 years of different type of analysis from the organic international certification.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of other people coming and checking what you're doing.
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
It's very some controversy and quality control in terms of bio. So people have to see what we call in bio in a different type of term.
So are these the same people as the AOC inspectors, I would say?
No, is more in terms of agricultural part. So the organic rum is just the result of an organic plant. So it starts from the ground.
Okay.
So when the ground get a chemical aspect or get chemical use, you never will have the certification.
Oh,
And
this has a very elegant flavor to it.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah, that has a bit of also a little bit of a buttery touch to it,
Yeah.
but very, very round and mild. How many percent is that?
51.6 is a foolproof bottling.
Okay, you're still going with high numbers.
Yeah. We love to. This is the second version of the first organic rum in the world. The first bottling was 500 bottle in the world only. There was only one cask.
And people liked it?
People love it. Now you can find a bottle like 1,500.
Oh, okay. But it also has something, I don't know how to explain it, something crunchy to it, something nutty, something like roasted almonds or something like that.
Did you know the chocolate bar crunch?
Yes.
It smells like crunch.
Yeah, a bit of a chocolate bar in there
Exactly.
as well.
With the
I like
rice, with the rice aspects.
Oh, I like it. So, what is it? Salut? Oh, how do you say it in French? Oh,
Santé.
Santé.
Santé. Something that you know, drinking just after the meal, just beside the swimming pool, or maybe with friends, and
Oh, this is very, very round for 50% rum.
It is.
Is that American oak cask?
It's a mix between American and French cask.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a bit of a spicy touch to it, but a lot of American oak in there. It's round. It's
exactly.
It's vanilla. It's pleasant. Yeah. So you mentioned a little bit about the terroir. We had when we drove here, we saw the big mountain, what is it? Montagne Pelée.
Yes, Montagne Pelée, exactly, the mountain.
My French is.
It's okay.
Montagne
We will
Pelée.
practice.
So, how is the terrain around here?
Honestly, in the north is kind of different from the center and the south of the island. First of all, just because of a volcanic eruption in 1902.
Okay.
The ground already changed, has a kind of different volcanic aspect, and also is the more sunniest part in terms of the island. So we have more sun and more temperature than normally you have on the island, which is the best for growing sugarcane. We love the sunny part, and also don't love to have the feet on water. The ground get very good filtration. So you don't have to use a lot of water. This is why we get irrigation of the sugarcane field drop by drop.
Ah, okay.
Exactly.
So, but are you then wetter or drier than in the center?
Underground.
On the ground is wetter.
Underground wetter, exactly.
Okay, and from the volcanic, is that like nutrients or how
exactly, you have different type of aspects of the ground, and also, like I'm telling you, it's different from the conservation of the water. Less the water stay on the foot of the cane, more you're gonna have sugar. This is what we're looking for the taste of the alcohol. This is why we don't cut cane when it's rainy day. We're looking for the highest percentage of sugar cane, and this gonna get top in a sunny situation.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So you cut it
And
when
a
it's
dry situation.
Dry
yeah.
situation. Okay.
Sugarcane love to be dry. They love water, but they don't love to swim in.
Ah, okay. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's always. I have a few plants at home, and watering is difficult task.
Exactly. you know.
Yeah.
Too much water is bad for some
Yeah.
plants.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So yeah, I've heard from Gregory that you can grow a lot of mangoes here, and you can grow sugarcane, but no citrus plants, no orange, no.
Exactly.
It's strange.
It's kind of strange, and also is more stranger than we have a specific variety of citrus, the caviar one, that normally from Australia, and love the dryness kind of ground. And we have a different type of specific just because of the differences of our terroir.
No, okay. So yeah, I like it that you have your own sugarcane fields that belong to Neisson. I like it because it's just more spot on, and
is a part of the identity of the product.
Yeah.
It's like different type of alcohol, and then they're gonna be the result of culture parts of where they're from.
Yeah, I like it. So, and the last one, I'm amazed. So,
12 years old. 12 years old.
How much is in the cask left?
Honestly, after
like
12
a
years
third,
old, you only have like 385 bottles of this cuvée. Yes.
Okay.
Just because of the very sunny part in the Caribbean, we have more evaporation part. When we call it the part des anges in French, this one.
This one. Oh.
And but the concentration in terms of flavor and aroma is pretty deep from the Europe and the less sunny area.
Ooh, okay. How much alcohol is it?
Is a 52.
Is that cask strength? Is it straight from the cask?
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
No reduction.
Oh, that is crispy.
It is.
And it has a lot of oak in it. But is it also French oak in there or a mixture? Or?
It's a blend between ex-bourbon and ex-cognac for this one.
Oh, cognac. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you feel a little bit of cognac and a lot of oak. This is, if you have 12 years of, in the Caribbean, you say about 24, 36 round-ish Scotch years.
Yeah.
So this is like a 30-year-old whiskey in terms of strength of oak.
6 years old in Caribbean equal to 18 in European. Yeah.
Depends on the wood if you have like. Yeah.
Also.
But around there, about 2 or 3 times.
Something when I like when I just finished my tomahawk and my homemade French fry with grey pepper sauce.
Yeah, this really reminds me of a 30-year-old whiskey, but very strong on the oak.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel the oak in the glass. It's
yeah.
oak.
So and
I like it.
After more evaporation, it's kind of getting more raw and buttery.
It is, but it's dry and it's crispy and buttery.
It's very woody, actually. Yeah.
But it's also very complex. I think this is one of these where you sit down and you try it and you just have a good time, and you can do it with friends. You can talk to them about it. But this
talking about all stuff.
Yeah, this demands attention. Yeah, this is not like you have one on the side. This demands your attention to it. You look at it, you try it. This is a sipping rum.
One of my favorites, honestly. One of my favorites.
I love it. It's really good. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much for having us here.
It was a pleasure.
It was really a nice day, and thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And thank you very much for watching this video.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, if you like this video, then feel free to share it with your friends and have a look at Whisky.de and Whisky.com. We are looking to get this in our shops so you can actually order it for you at home. So thank you very much and see you next time.
Bye.